Hi, my name is Newell Davis with World Composting, and today we're doing an update of our hardwood pellet bin. So it's been about 2 weeks since I updated. I have added a little bit of food, but not too much. I have added some moisture, but at that one point it was really wet, so I took the lid off. So I've done a few things since my last update, but I wanted to give you a rundown of how it looks now and if it's breaking down. So let's take a look. Alright, so here's our bin. I'm going to take the lid off. The lid is pretty dry here, so we're probably going to have to add some moisture, but I did have the lid off for a bit just to kind of let it air out. So this is looking kind of dry. A lot of worms underneath here. As you can see, there's some pulp left over, some of the carrot pulp that I put in here from a while ago, and then also have some of this orange pulp, which is taking a lot longer to break down. Let's just dig right here in the center here and see how it's looking. Lots of worms. Look, they look nice and healthy. Looks like the material is starting to break down and hold a little bit more moisture. It feels a lot more wet on top here than it has in the past. But nice healthy worms. Nice big healthy worms. So, which is good. There's still a little bit of food left in here. Let's just kind of dig around a little bit more. Nothing left, nothing under there. Yeah, no worms by that. Just see, most of the worms here are in the center, and it feels like this is starting to really break down. It still flakes apart. Let's just see if I can get a handful here. Flakes apart pretty easily, but you can tell that they are starting to consume, I think, these wood chips. They're going to be becoming a little bit more solid than this loose material. So I'm digging down here kind of towards the top. There's a lot of worms on top here. And this is an area over here. Seems a little bit dry. Let me move this over a little bit for you. Seems a little bit dry over here. This feels very, very dry and probably will need more moisture. Let's just see if we find any worms in here. I'm finding a few. So there's some worms over here as well, even in this dry section if they want to get away from some of the moisture. And oh, it looks like there's even some over here in this, where they found some food in here. So they're definitely searching for food. Give me a second here. Let me pull up my sleeve. Not as many on this side because there's not as much food. It's a little bit dry, but not too bad. There is some moisture. I mean, you can tell one thing about these wood pellets is that they really change color quickly when they're dried to this kind of like, I see this light color right here, which looks very different than the stuff that's wet. So, more worms down here. Again, still nice and healthy, it looks like. A lot of movement. Drier material here, as you can tell by the color. Let's see if we can dig into this corner a little bit. As you can see, this is pretty dry down here. This is what it looks like when it's really dry. It has this much lighter tint to it. But it's definitely starting to break down. I'm noticing some of this. Like this color here is definitely moist, but at the same time, it's starting to break down. So the worms are slowly starting to consume this. And at some point, I do expect just a massive shift, and all of a sudden it's consumed as it gets more and more microbes working on this wood that they can consume. So overall, it's still doing really well. It's still nice and loose material. It's actually a really good consistency, even though it's not fully composted yet. I mean, I am adding a lot of coffee grounds, which sort of helps with this as well. But it is a nice consistency. It's a little compacted in here, but not too bad. I mean, I can easily dig it up. Again, these worms are nice and lively. So let's just try to dig it off the side here a little bit. So lots of worms up top where the food was. I noticed that they're really kind of gearing towards the food areas of this bin, which, you know, is normal. But I'm wondering if the pulp itself, this hardwood pulp that was turned into pellets, is just not as nutritious or as good as some of the other stuff. So again, digging in the bottom here though, everything just glides right apart. It's very loose and airy. You know, it means it's getting good amount of aeration. It's not just it's not like some of the other ones that can turn aerobic as they compress down. These are getting compressed, but there's still air able to get down in there. It's not like it's, I mean, I'm all the way down to the bottom of the bin right now. Let me pull my sleeve back up. And, you know, it just flakes apart. So even though the moisture content in the bottom is a little higher than it was before, which is nice, there's a lot more moisture, it feels like. But it's not bad at all. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to dig a hole in the center here. We're going to spread out some of these. Like, I still have some coffee grounds in here. We're going to kind of break these apart maybe. And we'll throw down this piece of coffee filter here. And what we're going to do, actually we've got another one here, so maybe we'll throw 2 of these on here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add some crushed eggshell, you know, just to make sure there's enough calcium in here. Remember, you don't want to breathe this stuff in. You can probably see the smoke coming off. So I added that. And I'm going to add just a little bit of food, since I do add coffee grounds to this regularly. And for this we have some pieces of asparagus. Not too much, but just a little bit. And then we're going to moisten this down a little bit. Now, those are frozen, but they're starting to thaw already. But we're going to add a little bit of moisture now in the sprayer here. And we're going to throw this on top. We're going to just cover it up. Throw this stuff over here. We're just going to let these worms again work into the all the different parts of the bin. Hopefully they'll slowly spread out. Like, as you can tell, there's a pile of food right there. I'm just going to spray these down a little bit. Especially this side right here, which had a little bit more dryness to it. I'm not going to spray too much, just a little bit, just to kind of dampen it. Because it wasn't that bad really when I opened it up. It was just this one side that was dry, and I think I had the lid shifted this way, so it kind of dried out that side more than the other one. But again, look at these worms though. I mean, they're doing really well in this material, and I wasn't sure how it would be. I mean, you know, I wasn't sure if they would, you know, just not like this at all and be running up the sides or running out of the bin, but they seem to be, they do congregate more towards the food areas, but they are actually breaking down this material, it looks like to me. So we're going to keep going with this a little bit longer and see how it goes. And, you know, maybe this is something I'll try with one of my really wet, you know, get a bin really wet, and then I'll move everything to one side. I'll throw in a thing of wood pellets, and we'll see if we can dry out a bin with these. Because that would, I think, be an interesting experiment to do, to see if you can use these to kind of soak up that moisture that you have that's left over in a bin, instead of trying to, you know, empty it out or restart it. So we'll maybe try that in a future episode at some point. So that's it for my update. Please like and subscribe to my videos. Thank you.